When you are hit with another cease and desist or something, does it ever get to you?
No, it's only when I feel alive.
Really?
Yeah.
So you thrive off it?
Yeah, I do like that.
Welcome, Jonny Banger, to the allotment.
Thank you.
Is this your first time?
First time allotmenting, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Never set foot on one before?
Don't think so.
Gardening?
Not really.
Not at all?
No, I mean, I've got a little balcony in Tottenham.
Okay.
So I've just got my strawberry plant.
Nice.
So I need some tips from you.
Oh.
But no avid gardening, anything.
I'm not very good on strawberries, I have to say.
No?
No.
All right, what are we doing today?
Today we're doing beans.
Okay.
No bean experience
Can you
then.
do them in a pot on your balcony?
Yeah, you can.
All right.
Yeah, you can. Actually, what we're going to do today, you could recreate a bit smaller in a pot.
Okay.
So this sort of area here, we're going to create like a teepee structure with some poles.
Yeah.
Then we're going to...
Bamboo.
Yeah, exactly, bamboo sticks.
Yeah.
Then we're going to plant some little green beans, like climbing French beans, that will eventually, you know, they're tiny right now,
Yeah.
but they will eventually climb up the teepee.
Yeah.
And you'll pick them off the teepee.
Okay.
So it looks very nice when it's done. This is a circle. This is going to be where the sticks are going to like go in this sort of circle, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Then we'll put the plants on the inside of the structure that we create so that they climb up the inside and grow.
Yeah.
These are the sticks. All right, first things first.
I've just whacked that in. I don't know if I should be doing that.
You know what? I've got a confession to make. I've actually never used one of these before. This will sit at the top, and all of the poles will sort of like click into it, and then it will help make it into a thing. So we'll figure it out together.
That's tall, isn't it?
I want it to be quite tall.
Right.
That's why I'm using long.
Yeah. And what, are they going to wind up?
Yeah. They naturally, the tendrils on the plant, like naturally grab onto the thing.
Okay.
So it's a good space efficient method.
Yeah.
Good for a balcony. You can do this much smaller.
It's like a high rise.
Yeah. Basically. All right, I'm going to hold this in the middle, and you should just plop them in. Right. I hope this will work. This bit maybe we'll put in a, fast forward. I knew you'd be good for this.
Am I good? Is this good?
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like you've got building experience. Is that correct?
Not particularly, no.
Your DIY doesn't extend to...
No, I know how to break things.
And you know how to bootleg, which is one of the things I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
So I was reading, do you know where the term bootlegging comes from?
Well, is it like the liquor, like the rum runners and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, I Googled it before I knew I was going to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about it, but...
It's just smugglers putting stuff in their trousers.
Right.
So like bootleg.
Yeah.
But it has a lot of different meanings. Do you know what I mean? There's like bootleg music.
Yeah.
Bootleg clothes.
Yeah.
What is bootlegging to you?
I suppose with me and my work, I kind of see bootlegging as sort of like reclaiming sort of like the logos which are shoved in your face every day, which is sort of how I see like billboards and stuff as well. Just reclaiming them for yourself or for the people and kind of giving it back. It's just like more of a conversation. When I was a kid, like I used to go to like loads of car boots and markets and stuff and warehouses with my dad, and we were selling all this like designer stuff at...
You were selling them?
Yeah, car boot sales and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
When I was like age 10, I think.
What's the difference between a bootleg and a knockoff?
I mean, the way I see it is like knockoffs are kind of you're really trying to pass off like the item as the official bit of gear.
Right.
But bootlegging, I think there's a bit more of a conversation. Whether it's like, taking the logo and changing it. But I don't like all the, I don't really sort of do parody stuff. I like shoving two logos together and creating something else. I suppose like the NHS and Nike tick, that's kind of like an example of that.
Right. Whereas a knockoff is like trying to be an exact replica of the original.
Yeah, like nice fake Lacoste tracksuit. That sort of thing.
It's got its place.
Yeah.
Or a Roy band.
Yeah. I wanted to do Ray Bangs, but sunglasses.
Yeah.
It's the weather for it. So.
Is that possible?
If you find the right factory, anything's possible.
So how does that work? If you're trying to make something that's a bootleg, do certain people not want to manufacture it?
I've got a really good relationship with my screen printers.
Okay.
So they kind of print anything I want. They're local, based in Tottenham Hale, but I've had people get in contact with me saying, "Oh, I wanted to make this. I sent it to a screen printer, but they wouldn't print it, sort of like legal-wise."
Right.
So I think it's just, pick and choose. But I mean, like...
Because they can get in trouble, right? No, make that bigger. Make that bigger.
Oh, bigger.
Yeah, I want the circle to be bigger. This might fall down a bit, and that's fine. I just want this circle to be a bit wider. See what I mean?
Yeah.
This is going quite well. It might not feel it to you.
If you come back in a few days and it's fallen down, you will tell me, right?
No, definitely not. People have sometimes asked about the things that they've planted, and I've had to be like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was the yield like?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's all good. This is going to stay up.
I suppose, in that thing of like copy, like, I mean, we're all sort of like bootlegs or copies ourselves, like DNA-wise, with 50% your mum, 50% your dad, for better or worse. But like, like all Shakespeare, loads of stuff like, literally like the copy is kind of like a thing,
Yeah, totally. I never thought about that. Because that's actually another, when I was looking up bootleg, like sort of definition of it, that's another thing. A bootleg is a mashup or a remix.
Yeah.
Like, I guess there's like 2008 bootlegs of like...
You explained it better than I did, so yeah.
So that makes sense. But I also thought that was cool because it ties in all of your work so well.
It's mad sort of like thinking about the music I originally got into, which was sort of like hardcore, and then also hip hop, and then back to the hardcore and stuff, and it's all based on samples,
Yeah.
And hardcore is essentially kind of hip hop but faster, and that's all based on samples. And like listen to like The Prodigy, it's all samples, and it's a load of rap samples.
Is that the music that you first listened to when you were younger?
Yeah, with the older brother. That's kind of like, he got me a tape pack when I was 10.
Right.
Mind Warp, like Slipmatt Silas, D. Dougal. I did work experience when I was 15 at a record shop in Colchester. I was the youngest one, so they called me Newborn, and then like, I used to DJ there, do all this stuff. So yeah.
Good DJ?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I gave it up years ago, but yeah, I've still got my record collection. I can still do it.
You can still make a little bootleg.
I can still do it. Yeah.
The next thing, we can sit down and do this.
So I just saw a wood pigeon. Do you get a lot of birds around here? What's the bird?
It's mainly pigeons.
Yeah.
Although actually my dad was here yesterday, is a keen twitcher.
Yeah.
And he heard a bird call that he couldn't identify. And
right.
it spun him out, I gotta say. He was like, oh, what is this? But you're a pigeony guy.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
My granddad was a pigeon fancier. So he would go to work in a factory and he'd take a pigeon in his basket. If he was going to be late home, he'd like send a message to my gran as me. But I used his pigeons in the war, in like the French Resistance, all this kind of stuff. I've got like some certificates of his where, first place, it flew like 446 miles from like Rennes or something in Belgium or something like that. Yeah, pigeons are in my blood, basically.
Is a pigeon fancier a name for someone who keeps pigeons and races them?
Yeah.
Right, okay, and is that the same as a homing pigeon?
Yeah.
Is that the pigeons that they're using?
Yeah.
And am I correct in I don't know that much about it, but actually at my dad's allotment, there's someone who keeps pigeons.
Yeah.
And they fly in this beautiful formation around the allotment.
Yeah.
And I was asking my dad about it, and he was saying it's a whole thing. There's pigeon auctions. You need to get the sort of the top one. It's kind of a whole industry, right?
Yeah. I mean, when I was doing the book, which came out last year, I was kind of I had some pigeon stuff in there. Got some my articles on my granddad and stuff, and then one night I was like, hold on a minute, and I'd never done it before. I googled Billy Wright pigeons. I never met my granddad, he died before I was born. But I was stuck it into the internet, and this article came up, and it talks about there's this legendary prize-winning loft, Jim and Jean Jones, and basically he was a protege of my granddad, and my granddad was really skint, and he didn't have much money. What he had, he spent on his birds, but basically he wanted his kitchen doing up. So he said to Jim Jones, he's like, do it in my kitchen, you can have your pick of pigeons, and it says this is the most important decision Jim ever made. And he picked pigeon 138, which aka the original, which is quite funny when it comes back to bootlegging and stuff. So he picked this bird which is called the original, and Jim Jones from this one pigeon basically formed the most legendary prize-winning loft coming out of the UK ever. So all the pigeons were descended from this one pigeon.
Pigeon 138.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Mad.
Have you ever gone and tried to sort of like, I don't know, track down Jim or any of
Yeah, do you know what? So I saw the article, and then I saw who wrote it, some Paul something. And it says all these pigeons then went to this person. I saw when the article was written, which was about 6 years ago, and I was like, if I go and speak to this guy, I'll probably be able to find the lineage and go and visit pigeons which are descended from my granddads. But I haven't done that yet. But I suppose, yeah, in general, like my dream is to have a pigeon loft.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Yeah, have my own pigeons.
It's the expansion of Maison de Bang Bang.
The only problem is apparently like anything you read about them or up on them is like you end up looking after your pigeons like
Kids.
More than yourself, than anyone. It's like an obsession, you know.
I bet it's really consuming.
Yeah.
You would be obsessed with it.
Yeah, I mean I already am, so it's I'm halfway
dangerous
there.
All right, next up, what we're going to do, I see you digging a hole, but you've been a bit premature there. So that's good. It's good to be enthusiastic.
I'm keen.
Fill that back up.
Right.
So I want to just spread this earth around a bit so that it gets nice and level.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need to separate the plants. So I've bought these, I'm sorry, hang on. I reared these beans from seed. There's 6 plants in each pot. So what we need to do is like separate out the plants, which is easy to do, but it's just a bit delicate. To separate out the plants, you just take it all out, take the whole thing out, and just gently like tease the plants apart, trying not to damage the roots as much as you can. Here.
What, take these out?
Yeah, so I'll show you. So you can see like the root systems are all
Yeah.
really locked in together. So you just sort of squeeze it like this, just to kind of like loosen it up a bit, trying not to damage it. And then you just pull them apart. It's quite tricky. I normally go one by one. Here's one at the side here. So then you get something like that.
Yeah.
See what I mean? But just take your time, because you don't want to fuck them up, basically. Is all we got. When I was reading the book, your strength and spirit shines through. Like you work. It seems like you work very hard in a very like positive and fun way.
Yeah.
Against a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I don't know why. It's a fucking nightmare. It's not like we've like I mean, there's haven't reaped any rewards of like money. But I'm living. I suppose I've never really aspired to. I'm not seduced by like shiny things.
No.
I suppose.
Do you ever get, when you are hit with another cease and desist or something, does it ever get to you?
No, it's only when I feel alive.
Really? Yeah. So you thrive off it?
Yeah, I do like that. Yeah.
Were you always a rebel? Like, were you naughty at school?
No, it's just like, I like a laugh.
Yeah.
And I suppose like, I like what's fair, innit? And yeah, I suppose just like what's fair. Which I think is kind of like what my work maybe represents in a way.
Definitely.
It kind of kicks back against a lot of stuff.
So you've never had a cease and desist that really, I don't know, shook you up? Well, because can you describe a cease and desist for the people listening? And actually also for me, really, I've never been issued a cease and desist.
It's just like, it's a legal letter which comes through and it says, you have to stop this now. And
otherwise what?
Otherwise, we will take you to court, and you're in big trouble.
You're in big financial trouble, or you're in big jail time trouble, or both?
Yeah, financial trouble.
Right.
But I kind of always looked at it like, well, you can sort of only be in financial trouble if you have finances.
Good point.
Obviously, like, I'm not the first person to get one of these things through, but when I see people get them through, like suddenly they like, they actually reply to these things.
What do you mean?
Like if you get a cease and desist through, like it asks you to reply within a certain amount of time.
What, and say, I'm sorry, I'll stop doing it?
I'm sorry, I'll stop doing it. This is how much stock I've got. I'm sorry, I won't do it again.
You have to eat shit, basically.
And I've stopped, sort of thing.
Right.
But kind of like if you reply to any one of those emails, like you're opening up a legal trail there.
So do you not reply?
No.
Nice. So is that some advice for anyone listening that gets issued with the cease and desist?
Yeah, basically don't reply. But like, I mean, like with the NHS sort of thing.
Can you explain that quickly for people who are listening who maybe aren't familiar with your NHS
so 2015 I was walking through Dalston, I got given like a Hackney Supports Junior Doctors flyer. And then I took it home. Then sort of like I remembered all my experiences with like the NHS. Like my gran was like a founding member, like 1948 or something, was it? My mum was a mental health nurse. She got ill when I was 13, died when I was 15. And I sort of like, I remember, you know, the NHS through that period. So I knew all this stuff, but the flyer brought it up front. I was like, oh, fuck. And then reading about that and the junior doctors being on strike, I was like, right, I just thought I did a T-shirt which has the NHS logo and the Nike tick. I thought the N looked like the Nike sort of like thing. So I put those together, and it's kind of like support, you know, to show support for our peer groups. It's amazing, that T-shirt, kind of like, you know, kids will be wearing it in a smoking area. Like, they come up to me and go, yeah, my mum works at NHS, it's sick, isn't it? So it started like, it brought out all these conversations in people, which is amazing, which you kind of like, you know, when you put your work out into the public, they often explain it back to you. Yeah, so I got a cease and desist from that, and then
from the NHS.
From the Government Identity Protection Team. So the letters NHS and logo NHS are UK registered trademarks to the Health Secretary of State, whoever's in that role. So that was Jeremy Hunt, who was shutting down the junior doctors, and then I was also getting these letters from like the Department of Health and Social Care about this. So I'd pixelate the logo, pixelate the T-shirt on the website and put not for sale, and then they were watching me, so then they'd be like, thanks for pixelating it, can you tell us when the giant poster on Holloway Road is coming down, all this kind of stuff.
And you're ignoring all of this?
So yeah, ignore that, and then I end up like deleting it, and then like something will piss me off a few months later, I'll put it back up. Then like drummer from Franz Ferdinand goes on the Andrew Marr show wearing it, and it gets cease and desist again, and it's been like,
fucking hell.
So like, yeah, over the last, you know, I did it in 2015, and we're like, we're in like 2024 now.
And is it still for sale? Can you still buy one?
Yes, www.sportsbanger.com. But it's made, we brought it back for the pandemic, and that's when, you know, we really attached it to action, and like, you know, and we had a food bank at a local primary school. We sort of like, all the independent food sellers who are out of work, we coordinated, you know, deliveries to 6-7 different IC units across London. So I had a friend who works at the council in public healthcare sort of thing. In that time, like a lot of people were sort of like doing fundraising or like going and dropping like 30 pizzas off at A&E.
Yeah.
And just like, it just needs coordination. Like we knew like what time and how many people in each team, and we were there every day. It was such a mad period. It's mad. Yeah, it seems so long ago, but also like, I mean, the repercussions of it are still.
It's mad to me that it was only 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, feels like yesterday.
I had that thing, I was like, everything's going to change, you know, because you saw people, like, there was a different sort of like economy, like where Instagram became people going, oh, I need it. On our thing, people would be like, oh, I need buttons for like these face masks I'm making. Jessica Buttons pops up, like, and just like people like trading like, you know, time or care or skills or something. It's like, it seems like a different kind of currency. And then you come out of that, and then, you know, it's back to sort of like the individual, do you know what I mean? And
do you not get down about that?
Yeah, but also it's like, but I mean, it is time, and, you know, and everyone's got to go back to work and all that kind of stuff. So like,
yeah.
I can see why it is like that. You do get down and pissed off about loads of stuff. Like, my work's got more shouty over the years, which kind of like, I mean, you just can't help but, you know, breathe it all in, can you? Yeah.
But I guess what you just said there kind of sums up actually a lot of what I got from reading the book, which is like a sort of beautiful summation of all you've done so far. It's easy to be like, oh, people are selfish, or, you know, they had these ideas of a better world that now they've forgotten, now that they can go back to their lives or whatever. But the reality is people have lives and shit going on, and like da-da-da, and it's a more empathetic response than maybe someone else might give.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky I've got time, you know. I'm lucky to be doing what I'm doing. It's a lot of fun. And it means something. It seems a lot of fun.
Yeah, it seems a lot of fun. I just want to say what we're going to do next now. Yeah. You separated your beans very well.
Thank
Mine
you.
took a longer time. So, again, you're too quick in these holes.
That's just me fidgeting.
Oh, right.
No, my hands are covered in mud, I'm digging holes, I'm just like...
It feels nice, huh?
Yeah.
You want to dig your hole. Oh, look, nice little worm there. Dig your hole right next to here. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to just put the beans in and just naturally...
Can I do that with my fingers, just in like that?
Yeah, do it with your fingers, or there's a trowel behind you if you want it.
I'm kind of all right with this.
That's good.
What's the, like, do these beans have like an arch nemesis? Any pests and that?
The arch nemesis of everything here is the slug.
Yeah.
But again, maybe I need to be a bit more empathetic. You know, everyone's got to eat.
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, slugs will get them. Birds, actually, your beloved pigeons.
Yeah.
Sometimes can really fuck stuff up. Like with strawberries, actually, on your balcony, that is a tip for you.
Oh fuck! Because I've got loads of pigeons on my balcony. I kind of welcomed them in by putting like water out and.
Well, they're gonna love those strawberries, and they're gonna eat them before you get even 2 seconds.
All right, livid.
You can put some netting over the top of them.
Yeah.
Or you can put them in a little box or something.
All right.
But
protect the strawberries.
Yeah, protect the strawberries. I think it's something cool about your work specifically that a lot of it's based on, or not based on, a lot of it is on T-shirts. It feels like it's really a real thing. Sometimes I think it's hard to be, I know you don't call yourself an artist.
Yeah, I kind of like T-shirts, like they're great because I mean they're quite democratic and like, you know, they're cheap to make and they're cheap to buy.
Right.
I don't really call myself an artist. I'm kind of a bit better at it now, maybe. Maybe I would. Like, I do see sports bangers more like art than it is sort of fashion.
Right. I think I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like even, I mean, we've kind of like started to look at it maybe more as like more like a publishing project now as well, where like we publish ideas, whether that's like on a T-shirt, in a book, you know, as a rave or whatever, like kind of a bit of like a publishing house.
Pigeons.
Yeah.
They know you're here.
Hello, mate.
Have you got any advice, or maybe advice that you would give to your younger self about, for people maybe who want to start something but feel afraid of, I don't know, repercussions and shit happening?
Oh yeah, I mean, just like don't ask permission and just like do it, I suppose. You know, it's been 10 years now, and then we've done like a load of work across a load of different things, and we did that big Thames and Hudson book last year, and kind of with all that stuff, you can start to like lose or forget what it is you're doing, because like you can just overthink things, and then, you know, people go, oh, you're smashing or whatever. It's just like, oh really? Like, 'cause I'm just fucking making button badges and zines at the moment.
Is it weird getting like kudos and respect from establishments and stuff that maybe you perhaps don't necessarily fuck with?
The institutions, I mean, for better or worse, like we're in them now. I suppose you've got to be in there to kick them off the pedestals, innit? We've never really like sort of fitted into like, you know, the fashion bit, the art bit, all that. We're kind of like not allowed in these spaces, you know, like a door will slightly open, but still, you know, like I'm not one to go and turn up to the opening of a crisp packet and like fucking like you see the same people around at the same things blowing smoke up the same arses. Yeah, it's quite funny. I mean, I think with our work, you know, it's all like collaborations and stuff with, you know, brands, all this kind of stuff. Like, I think I've kind of like, you know, finally accepted the fact that I've pretty much boxed myself out of any of that, because it's terrifying for them, like, you know, someone or something that stands for something. We are doing something with the KLF.
Oh fuck, I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
The Toxteth thing that you went to.
So the KLF, Copyright Liberation Front, like, they now class themselves as pyramid builders. So they are...
Whoa, rewind. What do you mean pyramid builders?
So, well, they now class themselves as pyramid builders, which means they're basically building the people's pyramid. So if you die and you've signed up for mummification, when you die, 23 grams of your ashes get fired into one of these bricks, and then the bricks get laid at the people's pyramid on the 23rd of November every year, which is in Toxteth, like Birkenhead. So they've been doing it for 5 years now.
How many bricks have they got?
Well, they thought they were going to clean up in the pandemic, but they, you know, but they, I mean, it's still like this high. It's like, you know, 3 or 4 layers high, so the base can still move.
What?
But they found like a permanent location for it.
So how big? So it's about this high for listeners, maybe like a foot high, and then
so
this wide.
Yeah, probably like that wide.
And it's, so how many bricks? Like 40 bricks.
I reckon it's about. Well, 20 bricks got laid when I went, so I think, yeah, there's maybe like 100 bricks in there. It's going to take till 23 to complete, so it relies on sort of like the people and folk art and, like, you know, that to continue it.
And have you signed up for mummification?
I haven't, but they've asked me to curate this year's one. So like what the, you know, the ceremony itself kind of looks like. Because when I went there, like there's a meet up. We had to get there's a guy with ram horns in a canoe with a flare.
What? So there's a guy with ram horns in a canoe with a flare. It's night time.
In the water by the ferry, which we're about to get to cross the Mersey.
Yeah.
With like people dragging the base of this pyramid, with speakers sort of like, you know, proclaiming like, this is the people's pyramid. This is not for one, but for all that kind of stuff. And then a ferry across the Mersey, which is done in silence, but with like the tannoy going boom, boom, boom. And then they read out the names of like the peoples whose bricks are being laid. Then you realise like, because how absurd it is. But then in that moment, you're like, oh fuck, like, you know, there's people's family and friends and stuff. Like
it's a sort of a burial process.
It's a burial thing and stuff, yeah. And then the other side, like you get off the ferry, then like a forklift truck, like meets us there. The base of the pyramid gets put on that. There's a bagpipe on the forklift truck and a strobe light, and it's just going through like the residential streets of Birkenhead. It's fucking weird.
Does everyone in Birkenhead know what's going on?
Everyone looks out their windows like, what the fuck's going on?
So, what are you going to do next year?
I don't know. They were going, because now they're asking different artists to curate it each year. And then they were like excitedly shaking my hand, and I was like excitedly shaking it back, going, yeah. And I could see the look on their faces, just like he doesn't know what he's got himself into. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but we are doing something.
And it's the 23rd of November?
23rd of November, you should come.
I'm 100% going to come,
yeah.
2 days after my birthday.
Because also some people buy a brick and then they go on this sort of like pilgrimage with the brick. They continue to
their future brick?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and you'll have like the brick on your mantelpiece or whatever. You go, well, I'm still alive. You know, people use it in different ways.
It speaks to so many different themes, like tradition, afterlife, community, processing death. It's like a very interesting exercise that they've done.
Well, it's weird because like there's so many ways to sort of like get married. There's so many ways to have a birthday. And you think like, how many ways are there to have a bloody funeral? You know, 23 grams, it's only like your finger or something. So
I would love that.
Yeah.
And then you're part of this thing that's sort of forever.
We'll sign you up for mummification.
But please, please.
But the only thing I think is it's got to include pigeons. That's all it comes back to.
I guess you could do something like, you know, at a wedding or something, or at a funeral. I don't know which, any sort of ceremony. You know, when they open a box with the dove in it.
Yeah.
And the dove is released and it flies and it's peace and.
Well, what I found recently, like in this book, is like 13th century, like China. They actually have these whistles made out of sort of like bamboo and stuff, which they attach to the fantails of the pigeon. And the pigeons would fly through the air in these flocks, like creating this celestial music sound through the air, which they said was like the sound of their ancestors. Like, it's like, that's a vibe.
That's your idea?
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
It would be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Thousands of pigeons above Toxteth.
Oh yeah, there'll be a rave as well, obviously.
Fuck yeah. That sounds perfect.
I'm lucky we get to do that. Like, I don't see sports brand as like a clothing brand, because like no one needs another clothing brand, do they? No one really needs any other clothes.
No, but people need fun and inspiration, which I would say are two things that your clothing brand
and food.
And food.
Yes.
And party.
And beans.
And beans. And with that, I think we will say we're done. This was, I've got to say, happened much quicker than I thought it was going to be.
Solid, don't it?
Are you pleased with your results?
I'm really happy, yeah.
You look like you've done a fantastic job. We have one extra. You can take it home if you want.
Yeah, well, I'll do that.
I can put it in a pot for you and you can take it home. All right, that's a wrap.